to another edition of Life and Learner Success, brought to you by Top Virtual Staffing Solutions. Let's go ahead and continue to grow, learn, and innovate. And with that, we want to go ahead and say thank you for following us on all of our social media accounts. And if you have questions or another way to communicate with me is through email manuel@topvirtualstaffing.com. So for today's session, this is the 9th one. We'll focus on goal setting. And we will discuss DAPS and Care Smart as an acronym. And it's going to be a short version for today because I would like for our participants, for Miko, to go ahead and really concentrate on creating their own goals using DAPS and Care Smart as a process. And as always, if you guys want to watch the 6th session for Strength Through Stress, we always tie up critical thinking, scientific thinking, growth mindset, and willpower to these sessions as well. Let's get through those. Right, so why free? I want you guys to donate to worthwhile causes. And for today's session, we want to highlight NAMI, or National Alliance on Mental Illness, especially with Prevention Month that we are trying to go ahead and avoid. And hopefully, if we continue to become successful in life, this is something that we can avoid, if you may. All right. And at the same time, we try to highlight each nonprofit organization almost independently every session. But if you want to support all of these equally and to support this initiative, please go to our GoFundMe page. We would definitely appreciate that. And then we also have free virtual town hall sessions. And one of the things that we've done is where we discuss the future of moving and storage. So Miko, any clarifications or anything you want to ask?
No.
Okay. All right, so review. So the past few sessions we have discussed the importance of working with time, or quote unquote time management. And we also discussed inner motivation. So for our lifelong learning, is there anything here that you want to relate to or respond to?
It's important to work with time or your time management, because if you don't have a good timer, if you don't have a good way to time yourself in doing this and that, you might not be as successful as other individuals.
Well, yeah, sure, it's fine to sort of compare with others, but I think it's more of the importance of highlighting your potential. I think that's what's more important.
Yes.
So it's not a matter of being better than somebody else. It's finding ways to become a better version of yourself, right?
Yes.
And so, but I like what you've shared, that we need to be able to make sure we are being productive with the time that we are given every day. Okay, good. So on the creative side, how can you be creative with your rewards for your tasks or goals completion? And would you be able to provide different values to an expectation? So care to discuss or answer one of these questions?
I can be creative with my rewards and tasks by having an off time, as in completely not doing the tasks, and then a study time where I'm studying something that's related to the tasks, and task time where I do the task.
So you're going to reward if you're able to complete something, you'll give yourself free time. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. The free time to do other things that you really like to do, just to balance things out, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Next is the analytical component. Do you do more productive or constructive activities than time wasters? And the other one is, are your values and expectations legitimate and worth your time? So care to discuss one or both here?
I think, okay, do I do productive or constructive activities then waste time? I don't think I do when I'm teaching my friends programming, but if I'm continuously on Scratch and not doing my work, that's when it gets to the wasting time. But I am balancing out how, if I teach them, if I do something for them, if I do school, if I do my responsibilities, if I do my time, if I do eating time, whatever time, really. And then it's not really time, wasting time though, so I'm not really sure.
Okay. If you have, all right, let me clarify something. If you have completed all your schoolwork and your responsibilities, and then you are developing your program using Scratch or any other program for that matter, if you're putting your time in there to develop whatever it is that you're working on, would you consider that as a time waster, or it's still productive?
It's still productive.
Okay. It will become a time waster if you're just playing games.
That's exactly what I mean.
Games, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
What you meant by that. Okay. I just wanted to clarify. All right, good. Practical. How will you be disciplined to balance your productive daily activities versus recreational time? And I think you've already touched base with this a little bit. And then are you putting in the time and effort to work on your expected outcomes? So maybe answer the second question here, because I think we've tackled the first question already in one shot.
Yes, I am putting in the time and effort to work on my expected outcomes. One specific time I have done that is when we did kind of a ratio thing, something to do with ratio.
Okay.
And after everyone was done answering, because ratio is not something I've really studied over the summer, so I really kind of had a hard time trying to figure out the answer. But after a few well worth it moments, I got the answer correct.
Okay. So there was something of a challenge for you, and you continued studying it.
Yes.
Okay. And that is indeed putting in the time. And then now you're clear with the ratio and proportions?
Not clear, but I'm still working on it, of course.
I'm working on it. Okay. All right.
Specific question, I'm good.
You're able to catch up, maybe.
Yes.
Paraphrase. Okay. All right. Right. So critical thinking, from the last session, is there anything here that you want to highlight or relate to?
Well, I'm not sure if I don't think it really relates to time, but as I talk to my friends about Scratch, about programming, I ask them a lot of questions of what they want to be making or how they want it to be doing and who does this and that. But I also kind of do it in a time where I know that they are free and we don't have much work. So, yeah, that's my story.
Well, it's related to it because if you're asking questions, then you're clarifying certain things, right?
Yes.
And if you are clarifying, then it saves time in terms of how to work with it and how to proceed.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
Isn't that the purpose of why you're asking questions or clarifying with them?
Yes.
Okay.
And speaking of telling my scratch friends, I also earlier asked them if they wanted to make a type of ninja game series, so just asked them a few minutes ago. Or 30 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. So just ask them. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. Think about this. That is an element of reasoning. Okay. You're asking questions. Hopefully you're asking solid questions in order to have a better direction, because it's just like traveling physically. If you're not sure where you're going, then you ask questions.
Yes.
Instead of just being lost all over the place. So you ask questions for specific directions, so that way you are not wasting time, right?
Yes.
So hopefully you're seeing that, and that's the reason why we have these slides, the critical thinking, the higher order of thinking, and so on and so forth, with every section of our sessions, is because in one way or another you can relate and apply these things to whatever topic that we're discussing. So you mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if it's connected, but here we are. You see the connection there, right?
Yeah. I did not think about it in that point of view.
Okay, that's fine. But that's why I'm here to go ahead and facilitate it and make these connections for you, hopefully make these connections for you. And again, that's the reason why we have these slides here. It's not just for us. It's not for me to have this slide just to be a time waster, if you may. In almost every topic that we will be discussing, there's something in here, in these three rectangles right here, that you can relate to with whatever subject matter that we're discussing. Okay?
Okay.
All right, good. So, as I mentioned earlier, with higher order thinking, scientific thinking, and metacognition, anything that you want to discuss here in relation to last session's topics?
I kind of want to evaluate a routine.
Okay. So what routine that you want to evaluate if it's effective or not effective?
A routine in which I just do my responsibilities and those other hobbies that I like. So I want to evaluate a calendar type of thing, a checklist type thing, that there's something that can monitor me. Oh, sorry, create. I want to create something that can monitor me in what I am doing.
Are you talking about a program to do in that regard?
Program or using the calendar or whatever.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to remember if we discussed it, but no, I'm not too sure if we fully discussed it. And I'm glad you brought that up. One of the ways, that's the reason why we have journaling, for example. Again, from the root word journey. So one of the ways to go about it is that with your journey for the day, you identify what you did when you woke up. You identify after you wake up, after you eat breakfast, and so on and so forth. What are the things that you were doing? So if you wake up, let's say, for example, at 7:45 in the morning, what did you do from 7:45 to 8 o'clock? Then you write that down, or you type it in your calendar. And then from 8 to 9, what did you discuss? What did you do? And then 9 o'clock, if you're in school, what are the subject matter that you discussed? So that's actually the most common way of journaling. And if we equated with time with money, it's the same thing. Where is your money going? So for example, okay, so you're earning money, and then so your money is going to the mortgage, for example, or if you still have car payments, have insurance payments, and so on and so forth. Now, if a big bulk of the money that you have, you're spending it, let's say, on senseless stuff. If you keep buying stuff, for example, let's say, for example, the oven is still working, and then you end up buying another oven. Why? What's the purpose of doing that? I mean, the oven is working. Same thing with the fridge or whatever it is that you have. So the same thing with money, you identify where is your money going. The same thing with time, where is your time going? You list them down. So if you want to create that, if you want to practice that, you can work on it slowly. So for example, today, try to revisit, what did I do in class? What did I do in the morning? What was my breakfast? What did I eat for lunch? During lunchtime, what did I do?
Do I have to do that today?
It's up to you.
Okay.
But you can slowly work on that. So that way, you can evaluate. We can tie up the create and evaluate. You can evaluate, ooh, I spent 6 hours on Scratch today. That's too much. So you can determine that. You can evaluate where that is.
In the summer, 6 hours on Scratch is probably normal.
Yeah, well, it's summer. I guess it's okay. As long as, again, you are developing and working
Not
on
playing games.
and not 5 hours of just playing video games from somebody else. All right?
Yes.
So I can go ahead and watch you through and through. Are you really programming? But you show me the products that you do. So I guess you're doing okay. But if I really want to be strict about it, I'll be seeing what your computer is. And I want to make sure that you're indeed programming and not just playing. But that's the thing. It's not me monitoring you.
It's myself monitoring myself.
Yeah, it's useless. It's because what if I'm out of the picture? Then you do whatever you want to do. It doesn't work. Okay. All right. Good. Super example. All right. So let's move on to goal setting. More specifics about this because I know we've tackled this a little bit before, but let's provide more specifics about goal setting. I know we talked about long-term and short-term goals before, but do you have any questions for me before we proceed?
No.
Okay, so it's going to be a rather short session today, but after today's session, I need you to start writing and filling up these goals. So next week, you get to share them with me. Okay? We're good with that?
Yep.
All right. So the first way of going about this, the acronym is DAPS. So D for dated, A for achievable, P for personal, P for positive, and S for specific. And some of these are a little bit related to Care Smart, which we will discuss in the next slide. So when you say dated, what do you think that means?
Write the date?
Yeah, what about it? So when you say dated, what does it mean for you? What do you think it means?
I think it means that it's you have to keep track of what you're doing So you write the date? I'm not really entirely sure.
Okay, that's fine. Sure, that's a portion of it. But remember, you're setting a goal. So is a goal something that has happened or something that you're aiming to do in the future?
Something that I'm aiming to do in the future.
So if you're dating, if you're planning to
When
achieve
I'm
in the future, when you say dated, what does that mean then?
date.
If it's in the future,
Plan it.
huh?
You plan it on when you're going to start on the goal.
Start on the goal, and if there's a start,
You have to know when.
when what?
When you will start it.
Yeah, if there's a start, sure. So you're dating when you'll begin to work on the goal, that's fine. But so there's a start, there's an
End.
end.
Oh, so there's a start and deadline. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you brought up the start date, because when are you going to start it? And then when are you going to to provide yourself a deadline of a time and date when you have completed this goal? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So when you say achievable, what does that mean actually?
It's possible to be completed.
Yeah.
By your standards.
Mm-hmm. That the possibility and the probability is rather high, right?
Yes.
So if, for example, if I say I want to become an NBA player right now, is it achievable?
No.
No.
First, I'm not tall enough. Second, I'm too young. Third, I don't have enough money. Fourth,
No. What do you mean by you don't have enough money? What does the money got to do with you?
I don't have
Playing
any.
in the NBA.
Wait, I don't have to pay to join?
No. They're the ones paying you.
So, and
If
fifth,
you're good enough. That's the thing.
yeah. Fifth, I wasn't drafted. Sixth, I don't have college thing. Whatever.
You don't have knowledge, yeah, but that's related to you're not old enough. So,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. Whether it's you or I, yeah, it's not achievable to play in the NBA right now. Right now, if that's the date that I'm putting in,
It's impossible.
yeah, right now it's impossible right now. So,
And I'm not saying that to really let down my heart, my spirit, but if you just, it's not possible.
yeah, it's not possible right now. But let's say if your goal is like what you have been doing, the platformers and all these other, as you continue to develop your skills with Scratch, then that's rather achievable, right?
Of course.
Okay. And then when we discuss about programming and everything else, if this is going to be your degree in the future, you working on it right now will help you in that regard, right?
Yeah, yes.
So that's achievable in the future by the time you go to college.
Yes.
But going back to your question, to your statement earlier that it's dated that it begins now, that you're working on it right now. You've been working on Scratch and everything else in terms of programming, right?
Yes.
Next is personal. When you say personal, it means it resonates with you, that it's meaningful to you.
Oh, I thought that meant inner motivation type thing.
Exactly. Yeah, you tie it up. That's your inner motivation right there. Am I forcing you to work on Scratch 6 hours a day? Or that's something that you really want to do, that you want to develop your coding skills?
It's more of me forcing myself working on Scratch 6 hours a day.
Because that's your inner motivation, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's the first P for depth. The next one is positive. Do you want to have a goal wherein you fail?
Gosh, no.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be a positive goal of what you want to achieve.
And it's good for not only you, but maybe for some other people as well.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And the S1 here for goal setting is specific. You need to be very specific, for example, working on Scratch. What about platformers that you want to achieve? That you are able to do these specific things. And when you talk about coding, you have to be very specific with your instructions so it will do what it needs to do.
Well, there are multiple ways of coding a platform.
Okay. Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Of course, there are multiple ways, but with the actual product that you want to achieve, the actual outcome, you need to be specific with your instructions, with your coding in order to get the results. Right?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Yeah. So yes, there are multiple ways to go about it. I understand that. But for it to run properly, you need to be very specific with those codes. So with goal setting, it's the same thing. You need to be very specific with what you want to achieve, with what you want to accomplish. Okay?
Yes.
All right, any questions with DAPS?
So the deadline is next session?
Yes, that you provide your own specific. You put the date on it.
Okay.
Whatever your goal is, you put the date.
Yes.
You identify, how achievable it is or why, and then explain why it's achievable for you. All right. Why is it personal for you, and how do you phrase it in a positive way, and be very specific with what the goal is.
Could I add that to the goals I'm going to do next week?
Which one?
Getting a lot of my goals now for next week.
Yeah, you're going to share it next week.
No, what I mean is the goal setting. I submit it by next week. The deadline is next week, and I start right now.
Yes, that's
Could I add that whole thing to what I'm going to submit to you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So if we're going to date it, it's next week. Yes, that's the due date.
Okay.
Are we clear now? I'm sorry.
Yes.
All right, good. Next one is Care Smart. So it's a lot, but some of these are similar to what we just discussed on DAPS. The first acronym here is commitment. So have you recognized that anytime that you need to do something, I go ahead and ask you, are you going to commit to in completing that? Is that a phrase or a question that I normally ask you, especially when things need to be done?
Yes, definitely yes.
Okay, so that's the first word right here, commitment. C, for this is the beginning for Care Smart. Because we can talk about goals, talk about it, but there's a difference of you committing action to work on it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first one right there, commitment. The A is accountable. At the end of the day, who's responsible for you achieving your goals?
Me.
Exactly. So in essence, you are the one responsible for achieving as such. You are accountable for it. Okay. The R acronym here are resources, both internal and external. So you mentioned earlier in terms of internal motivation. That's what it is. They have that internal motivation, and they have that internal resource to complete this goal, whatever this goal is. And then external is that we don't know everything, but can we ask somebody? So going back to your Scratch thing, you're watching these training videos so you can develop yourself to work on these projects. And these are external resources that you have at your disposal. But for me, the most important word here is the root word itself, resource. And another version of this word is being resourceful. I don't think I have showed you where to search for these training videos on Scratch, but you were able to find them on your own, correct?
Well, technically you did.
I did?
Because
Specifically tell you?
not specifically, but you led me to it because you bought the coding books. And then, of course, if there's coding books, then why not videos? So
Okay, I appreciate that, but you're the one who was resourceful to search on these on YouTube. I don't think I told you, yeah, let's search on YouTube. You did that on your own. So yes, I purchased the books, but internal motivation is for you to go through it and learn from them, right?
yes.
So I appreciate whatever you're sharing with me, with your accomplishment, but I think majority of those accomplishments is that you are being resourceful to make that happen, okay?
Okay.
You discussed earlier, evaluate of where your time is going. And it's the same thing here with goal setting. You need to evaluate, are your actions going towards your goals? So if you're watching funny cats instead of programming in Scratch, then do you think you watching animals and funny cats, is that leading you towards your goal of working with their platformers? Yes or no?
Well, maybe, because you could possibly make your character a cat that says something funny. So
Sure, but why? If you're going to spend,
in general, no, though.
yeah, if you're going to watch 2 hours of cat videos, it's not going to help you with how am I going to make this platformer work and all the rules that need to happen, right? To create those vortex that when you enter it, you exit in another platform. I don't know how to do that, but you do, because you were resourceful in watching those videos to make that happen.
I don't know how to do that.
What do you mean?
Well, in Scratch, yeah, but not in real life.
No, not of course not in real life. I'm talking about Scratch. You're silly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next is specific. So it's similar to what we discussed earlier. But similar to specific is measurable. If you want to be objective with your growth, is that you need to be able to measure things. So it's not just a matter of, okay, I completed this platformer program. Well, let's measure things. For example, how many platforms did you do? How many vortexes do you have? And so on and so forth. So if you go ahead and say, I want to have 5 different types of platforms. One is horizontal, one is slanted, one is a U with a pit on it, and if you enter the pit and then you
die
and you don't continue the game, you start from the start. So you're able to measure that. Does that make sense?
You don't die and go to the start. You just reset the level.
Or reset the level. Yeah, whatever video games lingo that you have that I am limited with. Okay, so earlier we talked about achievable. This one is attainable, so it's rather the same. It's a synonym, if you may.
Oh, and sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I just realized time bound. That's pretty much the same thing with dated.
Yes.
But it's last, which is not real. I forgot the word. It's not the same. It's not the same with it.
Yeah, because earlier D is for dated.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters whether it's the beginning or the end or somewhere in the middle. It's just that you need to make sense of what is, what's the acronym. So when we set goals, it's clear with us what those are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And relevant is similar to personal, that it's relevant to you. You understand the why you are doing this, whatever this is.
Yes.
So me buying you these fancy gadgets for you to play video games, that's not relevant for me. That's not relevant for how I want you to develop and grow.
Even if it's on my birthday or Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Christmas because I get presents.
Well, we'll see. But going back.
Most likely no.
Yeah. But going back to this, Scratch, it's relevant to you because it's programming, it's coding, it's following logic. And if talk about logic, that's part of the critical thinking here. That it has to be logical. And it has to follow certain steps. So with whatever you're doing with Scratch, that's what you are developing. Okay? So it's relevant to you in a way that you're developing these skills. And as we've discussed with time-bound or being dated, it's rather the same. It's rather similar. So it's just a different model. But we have been discussing the importance of time management or working with time the past 2 sessions. And we relate that back to goal setting. Time is such a critical component for you to achieve what you want to achieve. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Before we move on, review. Any questions with DAPS and Care Smart?
I don't have any questions for DAPS and CareSmart.
And that's our review. DAPS and Care Smart.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to lifelong learning here. How is goal setting related to lifelong learning? And the next question is, why is effective goal setting strategies critical for lifelong learning? So goal setting is related to lifelong learning because if we continuously learn through life, we need to set the time. We need to identify what exactly we're learning. Because if I want to learn something right now, let's say knitting, sure, but is it really relevant to me? Is it really personal to me?
Don't you already know how?
Finger weaving, but I'm talking about knitting with the sticks.
Oh, with the sticks.
Yeah.
The sticks, never mind.
I mean, to each one's own. But going back to lifelong learning, sure, I can learn that, but I really don't want to spend my time on that. I'm not interested in it. It's not a personal thing for me. It's not relevant. It's kind of, it's not meaningful to me. But for other people, it's meaningful. But that's theirs. That's them. That's fine. Okay? So goal setting is related to lifelong learning because what is it that we continuously want to learn? That's the critical component. Okay? The next one is, why is effective goal setting strategies critical for lifelong learning? Well, the same thing is that if we keep missing our goals, or if we don't have the proper strategies to meet our goals, then lifelong learning goes down because we're not continuously developing, we're not continuously building. So it is really important that whatever is important to us and whatever we're learning through life, they're blended and they're merged together in from a good perspective, from a healthy perspective, that they're driving in. So as we go through life, as we continuously learn through life, hopefully it's in line with whatever goals that we've set. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we move on to CAP now. Creative, analyze, and practical.
Analytical.
Analytical, yep. So how can you be creative with your goals? So going back to your platformers, okay, what type of platforms would you be able to create? So you become creative with the goals that you've set when you complete your goals. How can you be creative if you do not meet your goals? So meaning, okay, what are the strategies that you need to do if you're not meeting them? So if you're doing it this way, it's not working. So maybe you have to come up with a different way now to see if it works another way.
And then if that different way doesn't work, you just keep on repeating that order. This will work. If that doesn't work, if that doesn't work, do this and do that and do that and do that.
And then maybe if you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Kind of like a code where you're in a maze and you have a bird's eye view on your iPad. I got this from a book, an ebook. You have a bird's eye view of the whole maze. There's this code of where you go, either way you're going, you go straight to the end. So if you enter on one side, you just keep on going until you find a dead end, turn around, go the other way, and then if you find another dead end, turn this in that way. And it's all leading to the other side of the maze.
So what you're saying is that there are different ways to go to the end.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And
stay by one wall all the time.
And then with mazes, sometimes it's a trial and error thing that, oh, you move this way and then, oh, it's the end. So you have to go somewhere else in order to go to the right destination.
Yes.
However, the other thing I want to share with that is that if you fail doing it this way, you can learn certain aspects of it and then maybe integrate that with the other steps.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's part of the creativity to go ahead and achieve your goals. All right. Analytical. So you analyze the effectiveness of your actions. So, and maybe I should add here as well, the efficiency as well. You need to go ahead and really identify, is this really working? If it's not working, okay, I need to revise whatever it is I'm doing. So going back to your coding thing, it's the same concept. Is my code effective to execute whatever it is that I wanted to do? So if it's not effective, let me analyze, let me debug this so that I would know how to fix it.
Okay.
Right? Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then you analyze your goals as well, if it's worth pursuing. So for example, for me, I wanted to be an NBA coach. I don't know if that's, it's not worth pursuing anymore, especially at this age of mine. It's just not going to work. So I just enjoy the games, if you may. All right. And that's what it is, being
I just
practical.
have some side comments of, why are you not boxing out? Or why are you not passing to him? Or
yes, in my own time, yes. But to be a coach, it's just, that's what it is. After I analyze, it's just not practical. So I need to go ahead and channel my energies and with the goals that I want to achieve. It's something, again, going back to that's rather achievable and attainable. So what are the practical steps that you can do to meet your goals? So again, if my ultimate goal is to be a head coach in the NBA, I don't know what the practical steps anymore, so I need to channel my energies doing something else. So there, that's the cap of goal setting. The what? I'm sorry?
you still need to pay as coach, right?
No, they pay you if they hire you. If
okay.
That you have the mind persona to become a coach.
The tricky step is to be hired. The tricky step is to be hired.
Exactly. But you can imagine there are so many people out there.
How? Then what was Mark Cuban?
Yeah, what about Mark Cuban?
He purchased the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes.
$250,000, right?
I don't remember what the numbers are. I doubt if it's 250,000. I doubt that. But I could be wrong. But
either way, I think if he purchased them, what was his job? Was he a general manager? Was he a manager? Was he a coach?
He was into investing and all business aspects, if you may.
Oh, okay.
And so he had that money and he invested on buying into an NBA team, and he purchased the Dallas Mavericks, which is valued at least 5 times more than when he purchased it, at least.
Whoa,
Yeah, so
that's a lot of money.
it is a lot of money. So yeah, so it's a win for him. So maybe that's a goal that he set for himself to purchase something, but he started first by hustling and generating income and money where he is right now. So yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yep. All right. So if you don't have any other questions, thank you for joining in. And if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to us with that phone number and our social media account, and these are references. So are we good with today's session?
Yes.
All right. So I'm looking forward to your specific goals. So go ahead and identify line by line with these items for both CareSmart and DAPS. Okay?
Okay.
Line by line, you are identifying them. I mean, sure, you can, I mean, it's easy. Okay, yes, I'm committed to it. But you need to you need to provide examples. Why are you committed to it? What have you done?
You have to do and show
Yes.
show your evidence.
Yes, show the evidence that you have actually done in building to these goals of yours. Okay?
Yes.
All right, lovely. Thank you. So we'll see you next week, and feel free to share this to everyone. Take care.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informational and educational. Please share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If not, my dad will not give me dessert.